The Rams fall to the Eagles. The Eagles are able to escape the Rams. Crazy enough, 28-22. Felt like the Eagles were going to run away with this game as well. It's 28-15. You see the Rams come down the field. It feels like Matthew Stafford's going to have another clutch game-winning drive, and it's going to be in the playoffs. The insane throws to Puka Nacua later in this one. The fact that he had 324 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have some fumbles in this one. The snow really did play into Philly's advantage. And Jalen Hurts, 15 of 20, 128 yards. But Saquon Barkley, 26 carries for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns. You know, both of these teams were really gashed on the run game. Philly ran for 285. Well, not really gashed. Philly ran for 285, which is absolutely ridiculous, with only 65 net passing yards because Jalen Hurts took bad sacks in this one, had a chance for the check down and the safety, and he looked horrible in it. The snow was clearly a factor. But when you take as many sacks as you do and only have 65 net passing yards, you're giving up 402 total yards defensively. Vic Fangio, we see that, brother. Both teams had 5.7 yards per play. Vic Fangio, we see that, brother. We do. Both teams rough on third down. Both teams okay on fourth down. 70 total plays ran for the Rams. So you knew that, Philly defense was going to get tired. 7 sacks allowed by the Eagles. Now 5 sacks allowed by the Rams as well. Only 6 total penalties for a total of 44 total yards in this game, but the Rams lost the time of possession battle barely. They lost the turnover battle barely. And I think that's why ultimately this game slipped away from them. The Rams have now given up 4 60-plus yard rushing touchdowns to Saquon Barkley alone in their 2 matchups. Gashed them the other game that they had, I think, for 250-plus. Saquon runs for another 200-plus. I mean, Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the NFL, and it's not particularly close. It's not. It was very criminal how he was handled in New York, and I think we all understand that. And Derrick Henry is a close second, but Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the NFL. And the fact that he's behind the best offensive line in the NFL is a great testament to that as well. I thought Philly's secondary was playing really scrappy all night long. Again, this is the best secondary in the league. If you want to take your pick at Reed Blankenship, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, CD, CJ Gardner-Johnson. I mean, take your pick. And then you look at the freaking front 7. Nakobe Dean, Zach Bond. Huh. Zach freaking Bond. Screw you, Dennis Allen. Zach Bond is a monster. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, all of the defensive talent on the line. I mean, just Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat. Probably the best defense left in the playoffs. And it's up there with the Chiefs, of course. Steve Spagnuolo is ridiculous, but you have the 2 best defenses, the 2 best defensive coordinators left in this one, and Philly's definitely helping take the cake on that. I thought the snow, definitely went in Philly's favor. It was a slippery ball for both teams, but especially by the Rams. You had 3 fumbles specifically by LA, 2 of them lost. And Philly was just used to this type of weather. The Rams were not. But you could come in and argue the same for the Rams. 16 sacks and counting in the 2 playoff games that they actually played in this season. It was the first time ever for a team to have 7+ sacks in back-to-back playoff games. Already 5th most all time in sacks in the playoffs. Just through 2 rounds. Obviously, they won't be playing anymore since they lost to the Eagles in this one. I thought it was pretty confusing, though. Taking the ball out of Saquon Barkley's hands on second down before LA got the ball back was pretty weird. Jalen Hurts takes an awful sack for a big loss. Jalen Hurts looks horrible taking a safety for a big loss when he could have checked it down. Now, I understand the defender was, free rushing right into his face. I get that, but he had time. You got to be quicker when your back is on your goal line. You do. And I'm not going to let Philly off the hook for the questionable situational football. Defense bends. They let LA score. They have a bad offensive drive afterwards. You give the ball back to LA. And the defense damn near allows LA to take the lead after being up 13 points with just a few minutes left in this game. So Nick Sirianni, Kellen Moore, Vic Fangio, I see you, brother. No. You ain't hiding from me. You ain't hiding from me. I see you, boy. I see you. The whole league sees this. Washington sees this. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because Dan Quinn is that defensive guy. For sure. So don't get it twisted now. I like y'all a lot. I'm kind of rooting for y'all this weekend. Really rooting for Washington too. But I love my boy Jalen Hurts. And the way that Saquon Barkley is just looking with him, man, is chef's kiss. I mean, Saquon literally looked at him and said, "Watch this." And he took off for a 76-yard scamper. But I'm not letting you off the hook, Philly. That was very questionable situational football. And you almost let Matthew Stafford, the king of comebacks, have another king of a comeback. And we'd be having a different conversation about you and Nick Sirianni and Vic Fangio and Jalen Hurts and everybody, because this is the best team that Philadelphia has had in recent years. This is better than the Super Bowl team, if you ask me. And you're probably wondering, how could that even get any better? Jalen Hurts had an MVP year. Well, the league has caught on to Jalen. He is now at a point to where I don't think he's elite. I do believe Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback. I don't believe he's elite at all. And he's just above a game manager, but he's just below us. Like he's just above game manager, but still notably below superhero. Like I kind of already think Jaden Daniels is better. I just think he's very talented. You know, Josh Allen outdoes him, Burrow outdoes him, Mahomes outdoes him, at least quarterback wise. Now, if you want to get into the whole quarterback wins and everything, Philly, y'all have the best GM in the league. Okay. I feel like Howie Roseman is such a coveted piece of y'all's franchise and organization because he keeps it simple. I mean, people want to make jokes about him picking from Georgia, but for God's sake, half of that defense are Bulldogs. And they are playing like the Bulldogs that they were known to be in college. You get Saquon, you get Devontae, you trade for A.J. Brown. You make Jalen successful. You bring in a great offensive line. You have Dallas Goedert. I mean, this team is loaded. But it doesn't mean that Jalen Hurts is the weak link. Again, I think Jalen is a step above game manager, but noticeably below superhero. I don't think Jalen can necessarily win you a game more times than not, but most of the time he won't lose you a game, if that kind of makes sense for the context there. But Philly fans, I want to hear from you. Get in the chat, get in the comments. Let me know what you think about Jalen Hurts' performance, about you guys going to the NFC Championship game. Do you think you're going to win? Do you think it's going to be a Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl like the Super Bowl logo for New Orleans is so desperately screaming to us? Is it going to be Bills and Commanders? Is it going to be Chiefs and Eagles? Who knows? We will have it play out.
Hey, it's AJL here. Appreciate you sticking to the end of the video here on YouTube. You could have chose any other show, but you chose my video, and for that, I'm very grateful. If you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media. Hit the bell on the channel so you never miss a post. Check me out on all social media platforms. Right here, you'll find a chance to subscribe to the show, a related video, and a playlist. See you guys in the next one.